business with a servant's heart. Welcome to the podcast. Inspiration, motivation takes. Listen to the pod.
Welcome to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. I'm your host, Steve Ramona. Every episode is an invitation, a reminder that business and life isn't just about profit, it's about purpose. It's about showing up with a servant's heart in every deal, every decision, every day to make a powerful impact on others. My guest today is going to light you up. I've talked to her a couple of times, and there's nobody more passionate I've met about healthcare. And you're going to learn and be motivated about it. You're going to be challenged about healthcare, but more important, you're going to walk away with tools that inspire action, both in your life, in the lives of others, making that impact. Before we dive in, here's your homework today. Who are you going to serve today, and how are you going to serve yourself today? And the key word is today. I talked to many people that wait. It doesn't have to be a big impact. Even a small act of kindness or courage can change the game. So lean in, take notes, and let's discover how servant leadership in business can create ripple effects that last far beyond the bottom line. Quick shout out my sponsor, Epic Impact, the only universal, emotionally resonant messaging framework that works anywhere for any audience. It's 4-step system transformed how I pitch on most social media, how I post on social media, how I talk on social media, and how I get my podcast out there. It's actually doubled my views in a few months. So learn how to educate, persuade, inspire, and close the clarity with your story. As I say, I use it daily and it works. Grab your free trial of epicimpact.ai with promo code Steve to start inspiring action today. With that being said, let's bring our guest on. Amber, welcome to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart.
Thank you, Steve. I appreciate it. I'm glad to be here. Very excited.
You're young. Why healthcare?
I've been in healthcare for over 20 years, and I started off as a primary caregiver in college. And I really think that my journey in my career really started off by seeing my dad serve in the healthcare space. So my dad was in orthotics and prosthetics growing up. And so he always worked on creating artificial limbs like legs and arms. And he also worked with a lot of quadriplegics and paraplegics. And I remember being a young kid going into his office, meeting his patients. And I feel like I was exposed to his compassion early in my life. And I really do think that really shaped my need to want to take care of people. And I really coin him to be the reason why I'm so interested in healthcare, for sure.
What's your dad's name?
His name is Mark.
Shout out to you, Mark. You've done a wonderful job with your daughter, and it's a great industry to be in because it needs help. But you talked about compassion.
Yeah.
I see it. I see it in healthcare. I hear my wife and her parents go out, and a doctor, you have to sit in a doctor's office for 2 hours before they even see you, or they don't even show up. How do we fix that?
Oh my gosh. I think there's a lot of things that we can do. I'm specifically in my current job, I'm overseeing customer experience. So the customer experience, the client, the patient experience is really important to me. And honestly, I experience it very similar to everybody else of going into a doctor's office and having to go through all of the forms that I need to complete, the HIPAA compliance forms, the disclosure forms, all of that information. And then I have to sit in a waiting room for a period of time. I definitely think that there are a lot of ways that you can improve your customer or patient experience by really serving your patients, really understanding what is going well about their experience when they come into your office, what is not going well about their experience when they come into your office, and ensuring that you're constantly gauging that feedback, but then you're also putting it into action. So if you get feedback that somebody's having a negative experience or long wait times, how do you reduce those long wait times? How do you shrink that time that a patient has to be in the doctor's office? Most people don't want to go to the doctors. Nobody wants to be there for 2 hours. We want to get in, we want to be seen, and we want to get out. And so a lot of healthcare providers are now offering virtual or telehealth visits. And I think those are really quick ways or efficient ways for people to be seen by a provider in the comfort of their own home. I recently did this with my daughter. She had strep throat, and we didn't do a culture on the throat, but we basically took pictures of her throat and we uploaded it to the portal. And then the provider came in and she said, Yep, that's strep throat. I don't even need to do a culture. They sent in for antibiotics, and it was such a great patient experience that it took me, I mean, I was probably on with that provider for maybe 5 to 10 minutes, and I already had the script ready to go at my primary care, primary pharmacy. So I definitely think like we need to take pulse of the patient experience, and then we have to make sure that we're prioritizing that in across the country in order to improve the efficiencies that we have in the office.
Yeah, telehealth has changed the game for healthcare when
Yeah.
done right, of course.
When
We
done
still got
right,
people,
yes.
right? That's important. This sounds like great experience. So let's jump into your company paradigm. How do you bring
Yeah.
compassion to your clients and patients so their experience is much better?
Yeah. I think for us, like we are a very unique company. So Paradigm Senior Services was founded a few years back, and we are a revenue cycle management company through and through. And basically, what that means is we do billing for Veterans Affairs, we do billing for Medicaid, Medicare Advantage, work comp, and long-term care insurance. Our clients that we're servicing every day are small business owners, most of them, and they're in the home care industry. So they are serving seniors in their community, they are serving pediatric patients, individuals with developmental disabilities all across the country. And so the type of work that they're doing each and every day is something where you have to show up with compassion. That is innately in the job description. A caregiver that comes to work for a home care agency that is potentially going to take care of my elderly grandfather. I want to ensure that the person that I'm having care for my grandfather is someone that is compassionate, kind, gentle, but also assertive in certain areas, and making sure he's eating and he's bathing properly and he's keeping his home clean. And so we get to service these customers every day. And these are small business owners. A lot of times they're really driven by their hearts. And they maybe never even owned a business before, so they might not know how to sell their services. Maybe they don't know how to market their services. If they do know how to sell and market their services, a lot of times they grow really quickly because in our country, we have a very strong aging population. People are getting older and older, and we need a lot of agencies across the country in order to care for these providers. And so I would say in the work that I'm doing every day, I have to be really compassionate about how I approach my home care business owners because they maybe had a caregiver that called off from a shift yesterday and they had to go out and cover that shift themselves. And so the type of work that we do is making sure that our payers and our providers are connected and that our clients get paid. At the end of the day, we want to make sure we make this as seamless of a process for them so they're consistently getting paid on time every time. They can meet their payroll needs, they can keep their business sustainable and afloat, so that way they can make an impact to service clients in their community. And so I think we have to show up every day with compassion. And we have certain situations sometimes where insurance companies sometimes don't like to pay. Figure that. And
Surprise, surprise.
sometimes, surprise, surprise. And when that happens, small businesses are really affected by those situations. And so we have to be really strong advocates for our customers with the insurance companies, and we fight and we advocate and we make sure we raise the red flag and we tell everybody, hey, we need this problem fixed as soon as possible. And we work collaboratively with a lot of insurance companies to make sure we resolve things timely for our customers because we know they're small business owners and we know every dollar is critical to the success of their business.
Yeah, and it's the big problem. It's what I hear a lot, not getting paid, you know,
Yeah.
or it was changed. It was supposed to be a 10, $500 deductible, all that crazy stuff. So you're solving a
Yes.
big problem.
Yes.
So as you're talking, I'm thinking customer success.
Mm.
Everybody wants it. I don't want the Wikipedia definition. Give me Amber's definition of what customer success looks like.
Yeah, I think customer success is really getting to know intimately exactly what your customer needs to be successful. And that is not some cookie cutter thing. I can't just slap a stamp and say customer success is the same for everybody because one home care agency owner's success metrics could be totally different from another's. And so every time a customer comes in, I have a responsibility and my team has a responsibility to get to understand where they're at in the maturity of their business. How long have they been in operations? How long have they had success with private pay clients? What do they know about Veterans Affairs benefits? What do they not know about those benefits? And making sure that we close those gaps as quickly as possible. And it's also important too that we ask our customers, what does success look like? Working with us as your partner, what does success look like for you, and letting them guide that conversation, and then making sure that we are measuring success across their entire journey with us. That to me is ultimate customer success. And then pulse checking. So if I'm with a customer 90 days in and there's certain success metrics we're trying to hit at 90 days, I'd probably do a pulse check and say, hey Steve, I'm just curious, are we hitting those success metrics that you said you wanted to achieve at the very beginning of your relationship with us? And if not, that's your great opportunity to course correct and shift early, so that way you can make sure you're driving that success throughout the rest of their relationship.
Data is golden, and you work with a lot of data, and using customer
Yes.
experience success with that is powerful. And I love that you work with veterans. Why is your company focused on veterans?
Oh my gosh, I would say our company actually was founded in the long-term care insurance space. So my CEO is incredible and my COO is amazing. And the two of them actually worked at a previous organization. They had an exit from that organization and they came on board and got involved with Paradigm, who was doing long-term care insurance, and that's it. And honestly, the way that we were doing long-term care insurance at the time probably wasn't going to be the most sustainable business model. And so they quickly had to pivot into another market where they saw an area of need, and that's really Veterans Affairs. So a few years back, the VA used to pay the claims. You'd bill the claims to the VA, you'd get paid back by the VA. A lot of times, a lot of agencies across the country were not getting paid. And so we were hearing a lot of pain across the industry about, hey, I've got hundreds of thousands of dollars outstanding in AR because the VA hasn't paid, but I have proper authorizations, proper documentation, I submitted the claims timely. Can you help me? And I think that's where Paradigm comes in. Where there is pain, I really feel like businesses have opportunity. And we heard our customers telling us we have pain. And one thing Paradigm's really good at is we're a very quick solution organization. We see pain, we say, how do we solve? How can we help? What do we need to do? And so we sat down with a bunch of customers and we started working on what we called an audit product. Basically, that audit product allowed us to go back 6 years and we would just reconcile every line item of every claim for all of these customers. We started to build relationships with the heads of the VA. We started to build a lot of those relationships and we collected a lot of money for our customers. And then people were like, okay, now that you've handled my AR, can you handle my ongoing billing for VA too? So this doesn't become a habit. And we said, how can we serve? How can we help? And we said yes. And we are really good at when some customers come to us and say, we need help with something, we're really good at sitting down and solutioning with our customers and saying, how can we help our customers? And honestly, not every organization is like that. A lot of organizations say, let's just go to market with this idea and let's see if it sticks. I feel like we are really leading with the customer in mind and the customer as the center of our ecosystem before we decide what we're going to go to market with next and how we're going to solve that pain point. So that's really how we got into the VA. And then a couple years back, there were two third-party administrators that actually came in, and they're kind of, I would say they're like intermediaries. So they are the ones that are actually processing the claims and paying the claims. So you got TriWest on the west coast of the country and Optum now on the right. So now claims aren't going to the VA anymore. They're going to Optum and TriWest. So we had to build those relationships with Optum and TriWest, and we had to make sure those relationships were really strong so that way we could fix issues along the way. Sometimes they have system glitches and erroneously deny claims. We have to catch those and alert our payer partners about that and make sure we educate everybody in our network about what's happening in the marketplace. So I would say that's how we really got involved.
Yeah. Well, the veterans, that community needs more help than anybody. And
Yes.
healthcare is bad, but that VA system I hear is
Oh
just
my
a mess
gosh.
for many reasons
I
we'll get into.
I know. And there's been a lot of changes in the VA healthcare system altogether. And I really do think there are certain initiatives that are in place to try to optimize the experience for our veterans. But I also know there are a lot of veterans that won't step foot in a VA healthcare system. And there are a lot of veterans out there that don't even know that they have benefits available to them that would allow them to pay for home care services, or they don't have to pay out of pocket. And so we are really trying to empower our customers to go out in their communities and educate their communities about these benefits so we can help more veterans. And then we just became super passionate about this. And now we go to Capitol Hill and we advocate for veteran benefits, veterans' access to care, making sure VA medical centers across the country are following federal regulations and guidelines, making sure when veterans want to go to a certain provider, that they are given the choice to go to whichever provider they want that's contracted in a network. And then we fight really hard to increase hours of care. There are VA medical centers across the country that will give someone who's a bedbound patient that needs a lot of care 4 hours a week. And honestly, that's not sustainable. And so we are really just through this initiative and through this effort and really collaborating with a lot of home care owners across the country, we just became huge advocates. And so we really get involved nationally to advocate for these benefits and changes in the benefits for our veterans.
Yeah, serving can get you lots of big things, and that's what you guys do.
Yeah.
It's so powerful. And you said serve about multiple times. So tell me, what's your definition of servant leadership?
Mm. I think it's serving selflessly. I think it's serving and never expecting anything in return. And I feel like that is the most optimal way to lead people. And I think about an exercise I did last week. Our main company is based out of Miami, so I get the pleasure of getting down to Miami every now and again, which is not a bad place to work. Not at all. And so I was in Miami last week, and we have a really, really big account management team. And I hosted roundtable sessions with small groups of account managers who are working with our customers day in and day out. And I asked them, what's working well? What's not working well? What's stopping you from moving as fast as you can? What's stopping you from creating the best customer experience? And where do you need support? And from those conversations over a period of 3 days, I gained so much insight into what they are dealing with day to day. And then I sat back and I summarized it, and then I started putting action to it. I said, okay, there's a gap between these two departments. There's a gap between these two departments. Okay, we have too big of a tech stack and they're having to move to too many systems. So it's creating inefficiencies in their workflow. That's a high priority. That's a business problem that we need to solve for. And so I think going in with that, with no agenda in mind, I didn't know what I was going to walk into. I didn't know what I was going to walk out of. But honestly, I left walking out of that meeting saying, I want to do something about this. I want to help my team, and I'm here to serve. I'm here to remove the blockers, remove those barriers, and create better collaboration between systems, teams, and departments. And I'm going to make sure I do that. And then I told them, I made a commitment to them, in 30 days, I'm going to follow back up and tell you what we've done and what we've accomplished. Because I also don't want them to communicate that and I never circle back with them about what we did. And they're like, well, that was a waste. And so to me, it's serving selflessly.
That's a beautiful message. I love that. Audience, anybody can do that. That's the power of this.
Yeah.
There's no special skill set needed. Just do it. Just like I said,
Just do it.
take action.
Agreed. And nobody has to, I was going to say too, and nobody has to be in a leadership position to lead selflessly. You don't have to have that title. Anybody can lead in any position they're in. It just takes that effort. So go do it.
Amen. I love it, Amber. We're coming to the end here. What's the future of Paradigm?
Oh my gosh, I think we are going to continue to expand our support services and the value that we're bringing to our customers. I think we will continue to solve pain points throughout the industry. I think we will continue to expand the customers in which we service. And I think we'll continue to grow our team. I think we are very heavily invested in headcount, and bringing in the right people to do the right jobs for our customers. And so I definitely think that's our future for sure.
Yeah, I love that. And you're going to make some changes with a thought, with that mindset of servant leadership. And
Yeah.
it's, I've met Carmen, who we're going to do some stuff with, I'm working with. Yeah, it's definitely prevalent to your company. And that's the culture that people need to attest to. So let's end with a fun question. Let's learn a little bit more about
Okay,
Amber.
let's do it.
So I've reserved a restaurant. Let's say it's Miami. You're in Miami for your meetings with your with your company family.
Yep.
This could be your family. You got a chair of 4 seats. You're going to sit in one of the chairs. In the 3 empty chairs, who would you invite to sit down, to get to know, to learn? Somebody you've been watching or wanted to get to know. And what food would you order for the table?
Oh my gosh. So are these people that work in my company or people like outside of my
People that
company?
are mentors, people you've looked
Oh my
towards that
gosh.
have changed your life.
Oh my gosh. First, I would say my executive coach, Amber. She is incredible, and I just got to know her within the last couple of months. I hired my first executive coach, and honestly, she has literally changed my life from feeling burnt out or sometimes burning the candle at both ends to really letting go of a lot of things. And so I praise her for all the support she's given me. I would say another person that I would add is my dear friend. I have a dear friend. His name is Kyer. He was my old boss at a previous company, and honestly, he took a chance on me for one of my first director positions. And he was probably one of the most supportive leaders I have ever worked for in my entire career. And I loved solving problems with him at the same time. And honestly, he and I worked so collaboratively together that he's like, when I think about like the type of boss I would always want, like he's the type of person you would always want in your corner all the time. Like he's just a supportive person. The third person, if I were to choose, is I'm going to choose people I know and not just people randomly that I don't know, but I'm going to choose my best friend. Literally, her name is Alicia. She is an absolute incredible powerhouse. Her and I used to work together when we worked at Optum, and honestly, she has been my ride and die friend for years. And she is the type of person that will tell, like, I will come to her with all my things. And honestly, she is so logical and so level headed. And she always keeps me grounded. And honestly, like, I don't know what I would do without her. So for sure,
Powerful.
those 3 people would be at my table. And what would we order?
What would
We
you
would
order for the
probably,
table?
what would I order for the table? Like food or drinks?
Whatever you want. Both, all of it. You can order everything.
Okay, food for the table is definitely going to be, um, well, I know what some of them like and don't like, so this is really hard to pick, but I would probably do family style meals. So I would definitely do like pastas, appetizers, shareables for the entire table, so we all can pick and choose like the types of foods that we like. We could stay away from the foods that we don't like, but it definitely would be family style. It feels like intimate, personal. We get to share a meal together, and that's what I would choose.
It's beautiful. Well, you're a servant's heart. Your leadership style is amazing. Thank you for sharing. But I know people listening want to reach out. How can they find you or find Paradigm?
Yeah. So you can go to Paradigm. It's paradigmseniors.com if you want to look for Paradigm. I am all over LinkedIn. You can follow me at Amber Monroe. I talk about customer success, customer experience pretty much every single day of the week, excluding the weekends. Usually I stay away from social media on the weekends unless I have to, because that is really family time. But yeah, you can find me on LinkedIn.
It's easy peasy. See, servant leader makes it easy to do things. That's what you do in the home care. And thanks again for working with veterans, because that is just a
Absolutely.
powerful community. Audience, subscribe to the YouTube channel. And this is a perfect reason. You're a veteran. You're a veteran. You know people in home care. It's a tough job. Amber's company and her are making it easier. So you share the link with them. They listen, and you change their life. Or they go to the website, or they reach out to Amber. Whatever way they do, you're impacting people. Yeah, I love subscribers because they get the shows and all that. But more importantly, these are gifts. So hand these gifts out and serve people every day, or when it resonates with you. with that, and it could be any podcast, by the way. It doesn't have to be my podcast. If you listen to a podcast and you go, hey, I got to send this to Amber, send it to them. If they listen to it or not, that's their thing. But always send these gifts out because that's what I think podcasts are all about. With that being said, me and Amber want to thank all of you for watching or listening to this podcast. And we'll see you all in the next episode of Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. Have a great day, everyone. Stay healthy.